The sun is scorching like never before. Cancer's on the rise. Is it just a coincidence? Let's find out. As long as the sun covers the clouds, even on a hot day it becomes comfortable. The temperature drops, the air does not scorch, the body feels better. Clouds are not just a landscape, they are the planet's natural shield. Imagine if you took away the clouds altogether. It wouldn't just be hot, it would be scorching hot. The Earth without clouds is like a man without skin. It loses its defenses, overheats, and dies. When there are clouds, the Earth lives. Light is soft, moisture is trapped, life grows. Forests, fields, flowers, everything breeds. Clouds are not the enemy. It's the breath of the planet. Without clouds, the Earth becomes rock. Moisture evaporates. Plants burn. Life disappears. It's no longer home. It's a desert. And the less clouds, the closer the desert gets. The climate is changing. Temperatures are rising. Why? Let's take a look at the global temperature graph. Maybe it will clarify something. What do we see? Before 1965, relative stability. 1965 to 1973, the period of warfare and Operation Popeye, the most significant climatic interference in the Earth's climate by mankind. Silver iodide is released into the atmosphere on an unprecedented scale, thousands of tons. And from there, the global temperature curve goes up. An accident. The U.S. was desperate. The jungle, the guerrillas, the invisible enemy. The reputation of a great state is at stake. Nothing worked. All hope is in the sky. If you can't defeat an enemy with conventional warfare, might be able to beat the climate change. A C-130E Hercules from the 43rd Air Group at Pope Air Force Base, North Carolina, flies over the Atlantic Ocean. Operation Popeye. Clouds over Vietnam are seeded with silver iodide. Mission: the jungle into a swamp. 5,400 tons of the substance in 8 years. And no one asked what will happen to the planet. What kind of substance is silver iodide? It's a chemical compound called AgI. It easily causes condensation of moisture in clouds. Silver iodide is actively used to artificially induce rain, cloud dispersal before the holidays, clearing the air of smog, hail, and fire control. All sounds useful, but then, how is silver iodide sprayed? There are many options, from airplanes, through rocket launchers, even from cannons firing into the sky. The goal is to hit the right cloud. The aftermath flies with the wind wherever it goes. And who has measured how much and where it hits? The C-130 alone carries 16 tons. Who studies the long-term effects? Is silver iodide safe for humans? Everything about silver iodide is shrouded in dark silence. No meaningful international toxicological assessment. Russia, 2018, conducted a study just to get a rough idea of how carcinogenic this substance could be. And the conclusions are disappointing. By the very careful wording of the conclusions, there is a correlation. In the area of silver iodide use, an increase in cancer. It's worth looking at the charts, and this cautious correlation turns into an obvious correlation. Silver iodide is a substance that is sprayed into the air. Cancer is a disease that starts in the lungs, liver, and brain. An accident or a pattern? The war is long over, but its traces are still in the sky. Silver iodide continues to be sprayed around the world. In what quantities? No one knows. Dosage is not published. There's no control. We can only talk about the number of projects. And if you look at this map, it's disturbing. Civilian programs are used in dozens of countries. The substance is the same. Consequences for all. Let's take a look at the oncology chart. Australia, New Zealand, USA, Holland, Luxembourg, Iceland, Norway, UK, Ireland, Denmark have the highest number of cases. Now for the interesting question. Why is there less oncology in Japan? Ukraine, even after Chernobyl, what about Africa, South America? This map raises questions, very serious ones. We're told Norway has a lot of oncology because people live well and long lives. Now let's think back to Japan. 2 atomic bombs, Fukushima accident, population density, stress. But cancer is less common there than in healthy Scandinavia. Then what's the matter? Maybe it's not the medicine, but the atmosphere. We know that dust from the Sahara reaches the United States. Now imagine silver iodide, special fine powder, light, volatile. It is sprayed in the clouds, and the clouds are drawn into torrents, cyclones, typhoons. One spray and thousands of kilometers of dispersion. Now we look at the wind map. From the US, Canada, Europe, the main flow is going to Norway, Britain, Ireland, Holland. Where there's rash, there's sickness. Where it blows, they get sick. Obviously, there are other reasons, but this obvious pattern is too striking to miss. Let's take another look at the oncology chart, and what do we see? Australia and New Zealand are officially considered cancer zones. The cause? Harsh ultraviolet light and proximity to the South Pole. But if you look closely, it's not logical. South Africa and South America, there are areas even closer to the South Pole. And what about it? There's a lot less cancer there. Of course, there are other factors, but agree, these contradictions are too eloquent to ignore. Now look at the wind map again. Operation Popeye, Vietnam. Thousands of tons of silver iodide into the atmosphere. And where do the winds blow? Across the Indian Ocean along Africa, straight towards Australia. Some would say coincidence. We'll say question. More importantly, why does no one want to name the real suspect, silver iodide? Why exactly is silver iodide the #1 suspect? Because there is no other such large-scale and systematic intervention in the Earth's atmosphere as the spraying of silver iodide. And it is silver iodide that has been massively, uncontrollably sprayed into the atmosphere for decades to purposefully change the weather, the climate. Take a close look at this miracle. The map of the spread of English is almost identical to the map of cancer incidence. Again, an obvious pattern, and it is too striking to miss. USA, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland are the leaders in cancer. And now let's remember, silver iodide began to be mass-produced and sprayed after 1946. Before that time, the situation was quite different. There was much less oncology in the world, and the leaders in oncology were Germany, France. But after 1946, a wave of disease moves to the English-speaking world. The question is why? Maybe it was easier for English-speaking manufacturers to negotiate with English-speaking officials. The English-speaking world is divided into 2 eras. Before the mass production of silver iodide and after. Before, disregard for one's health, fewer cases of cancer. After, it is fashionable to lead a healthy lifestyle, high level of preventive and curative medicine, but more cancers. Again the question, why? We're not test subjects. This planet is not an experimental zone. Climate engineering is playing with fire. It makes forests catch fire, makes lungs sick, kills ecosystems. We don't need to control the clouds. We need to cherish what we have left. Planting a tree is more important than destroying clouds. Protect the planet. Say no to climate engineering. The sick Earth is still breathing. But it's still being experimented on. What do the authorities offer us? kill the cows, paint the roofs, reduce consumption to trap CO, launch aerosols into the stratosphere to make a mirror in space, reduce production, and all of the above is not a cure. COVID happened. The desired reductions in production and consumption did not help. The authorities are shamed. It's like a child giving his exhausted mother pills at random. She's tired, she's suffocating, she just wants to rest, and if you don't stop, Mom won't get up again, and with her will disappear the one who tried so hard to save her. So, what's next for us? And next, we have a Chinese mega-project waiting for us. Heavenly River is an area larger than Canada. On track, 10 billion tons of additional precipitation per year. That's 7% of all the drinking water China consumes. Silver iodide is lifted up from tens of thousands of ground burners, installed on mountain peaks over 5 kilometers high. In all of this, China is enlisting 10,000 experts. Without their intervention, the clouds would live longer and reflect more sunlight back into space, cooling the planet. Now, apparently, it's going to get even hotter. There will be more hurricanes, more catastrophic downpours. The zone of life in the ocean and on land will shrink. There will be less green sea and land life. There will be new pathogens and epidemics. And it's all about each and every one of us. The cloud cover has already decreased. There is no hiding it. Here is the graph I found. According to experts at the Russian State Hydrometeorological University, St. Petersburg, 2019, a 1% decrease in global cloud cover corresponds to a global temperature increase of about 0.06 degrees Celsius. According to preliminary estimates, cloud cover has already decreased by a quarter over the last 100 years. What happens when the clouds are destroyed more? And who knows how gas hydrate CO2 and CH4 will behave in the ocean? How many of them are there, deep down there? What happens if the heating of the ocean causes the gas hydrates to increase the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere from 0.04% to, say, 4%? Then there will be a real greenhouse effect. It will heat up the ocean even more, and the ocean will probably respond with more emissions. It may be unstoppable. No one can guarantee that this irreversible process has not already started. It was just hot. But someone decided to still make a profit for themselves by exhausting more chemistry on the common clouds. I suppose it will be possible to fry kebabs right on the ground. Next thing you know, there won't be anyone left to eat it. Every Earthling has the right to know how safe his life is. The most troubling issue for humans is the heating of the planet. So everyone should have easy access to the global cloud cover chart, to a graph of the Earth's albedo, to the current global temperature, not averages and manipulation. There should be accountability for unauthorized spraying of chemicals on someone else's property, harboring consequences, games with a shared atmosphere. Perhaps all that is said is a delusion because of random coincidences. But there are too many of them, and when there are too many coincidences, it is no longer like a coincidence, but like a system against people. Do we really not care? The fate of each of us, the future of our children and grandchildren, is being decided now. We need control. You need truth. You need respect.